Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga. The third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita contains 43 verses and can be divided into 5 sections. Section 1, text 1 to 9, explain the basic principles of action in Karma Yoga. Karma means action, and every action in the material world has a reaction called karma phala that leads to further material bondage known as karma bandhana. Hence, some philosophers propose that one can achieve liberation from karma bandhana, material bondage, just by stopping all work. The logic is that if every karma leads to karma bandhana, if we stop all karma, we would attain moksha or liberation. But Lord Krishna declares in text 4 and 5 of the third chapter that merely by stopping work one cannot achieve freedom from reaction. Na karmana manarambhat neshkarmyam purushoshnute. In fact, one cannot be inactive even for a moment. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karmakrit. Everyone is forced to act helplessly under the spell of the material modes of nature, and every such action leads to further bondage. So, the big question remains: what should one do? How should one act? What is the true path to attain liberation from karma bandhana? Lord Krishna then reveals the great secret how to overcome this most difficult complexity and quagmire in text 9. Yagnagthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangah samachara. When every action is performed for yagnagtha or for the sake of the Supreme Lord Krishna, it leads to liberation, mukta sangaha. So there are two kinds of action. The first is swartha karma, or actions done for oneself. And all actions under this category lead to karma bandhana, material bondage. And the only option to liberate oneself from such material bondage is the second kind of activity known as yagnagtha karma, or actions dedicated to the Supreme Lord. Such action is called karma yoga. This most important principle of karma yoga is perfectly explained in text 30 of this chapter as Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. One should surrender all one's actions unto the Supreme Lord Krishna. This is the essence of Karma Yoga. In simple words, the principle of Swartha Karma is everything I do it for myself. And this leads to bondage, whereas the underlying principle of Yagnagtha Karma is everything I do it for the Supreme. And this leads to mukti or liberation. Section 2 of the third chapter is from text 12 to 16, and it is the depiction of the karma kanda chakra, the cycle of activities in the material domain. There is a system established by the Supreme Lord to gradually elevate people absorbed in action with selfish motives to the stage of selfless work. This is the process of yagna, wherein everyone offers at least some portion of the result of one's activities to higher authorities called the Devatas, who are representatives of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The Devatas arrange for the subsistence and maintenance of all living beings by providing food, water, rainfall, air, and all basic essential needs. By the process of yajna, living entities express their gratitude, and this also elevates them to the concept of selfless action. This entire system is thus dependent on the performance of yajna or selfless action. Section 3 from text 17 to 32 is the description of the activities of a self-realized person. Although a self-realized person has no obligation to work, yet he acts for a higher purpose. In text 17, Lord Krishna says, Yastvatmaratireva syad atmatriptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. Here there are three words, Atmarati, Atmatripta and Atmani Santushtaha. For one who is self-realized, Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate, there is no duty. Basically, only a self-realized person can become free from all obligations to perform any duty. Yet, Krishna advises that even a self-realized person must act and perform his prescribed duties, but without any attachment and just for the sake of instructing others who are still materially entangled. In text 21, Lord Krishna declares that whatever actions are performed by great persons, the common people follow them. Yad yad acharati shreshtaha tattadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. In fact, Lord Krishna then gives his own personal example that being the supreme absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, he has absolutely no work prescribed to him in all the three worlds. Yet he acts just to set an example for the world to follow. The activities performed by the Supreme Lord and by liberated self-realized souls can be compared to a teacher holding the hand of a student to write the alphabet. The distinction should always be remembered between the teacher and the student. The highly educated and qualified teacher has actually no need to write basic alphabets, yet he writes them along with the student just for the sake of instruction. Thus, by following the example set by the Supreme Lord and the liberated souls as to how to act under the modes of nature without any attachment, everyone can gradually elevate themselves to become free from karma bandhana, from all material bondage that arises from material work. All karma should be connected to the Supreme Lord by surrender to Him, and this is the secret of Karma Yoga. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa. In text 31, Lord Krishna says, Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Those persons who execute their duties according to these injunctions of mine and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of all material reactions. Muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Section 4 of the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 33 to 35, explain how the three gunas of material nature strongly influence a person and bind one to a particular specific nature. The three gunas of Prakriti create a certain swabhava or nature that strongly bind a person, and although that nature is artificial and has nothing to do with the soul proper, one becomes conditioned to exist in that nature as if bound by a spell. In text 33, Lord Krishna says, Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakriterjnanavanapi. An example can be given that of a fisherman who once pleased the king, and the king rewarded him with stay in the royal palace for a night. The delighted fisherman came to the palace and enjoyed all the royal opulences. He then retired for the day on a most comfortable and soft bed, but was unable to get sleep for a long time. Finally, he went to his hut, brought a basket of fish, and kept it underneath the bed, and then peacefully slept. The fisherman was conditioned to sleep in the stench of the fish and was unable to sleep in the fragrant aromas of the palace. Thus, it is better to engage in one's prescribed duties according to one's conditioned nature than to imitate the activities of another. In text 35, Lord Krishna says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than to imitate another's duties perfectly. The fifth section of the third chapter, from text 36 to 43, describes the most powerful enemy of all living entities that keeps everyone in the darkest regions of ignorance. In text 36, Arjuna inquires, Arjuna uvacha atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Krishna, by what is one impelled to commit sinful activities, sometimes even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? A living entity, as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is originally pure, spiritual, and free from all material contaminations. Therefore, by his original nature, he is not subject to the contamination and to the sinful reactions of this material world. But when he is in contact with material nature, he acts in many forbidden sinful ways without hesitation and sometimes even against his will. In answer, in text 37, Lord Krishna reveals that the greatest enemy of all living beings that impels them to commit these sinful activities and bind them in karma bandhana is kama or lust. Shri Bhagavan uvacha kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidhenam miha vairinam. Krishna says it is lust only, kama esha, Krodha Eshaha, that later transforms into anger, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Maha Ashanaha, Maha Papma. This enemy has captured different strategic positions in the system, in the body of the conditioned souls, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer this enemy may know where he can find them. In text 40, it is said, Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhishthanam uchyate eter vimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. The senses, the mind and the intelligence, Indriyani, Manaha, Buddhihi, are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, the lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. The only way to defeat this most formidable enemy called lust and anger is to engage the senses, the mind, and intelligence in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord Krishna and thus attain the supreme perfection of life. Hare Krishna.